Welcome to Relationship Real Talk, hosted by MyNFT.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Relationship Real Talk with MyNFT, hosted by my relationship experts with Dr. Rob and Dr. Lynn. Today, we have another great episode for you, episode 10, where we'll be discussing how to nurture, I would say, a relationship. So, the single portion theme today is love isn't a feeling, it's a practice. And on the couple side, which will be the second half of our conversation today, will be the marriage you feed is the marriage you keep. That being said, to get things started, Dr. Lynn, Dr. Rob, how are things been?
Ooh, things have been busy.
Very busy.
Man, on the
But
counseling,
good.
yeah. On the counseling front, we're just seeing really two polar opposites in counseling, in that some are just so surrendered to God and their marriage that you just see them thriving in a way that just is awe-inspiring. And then we see those who are still holding on to things like pride and their own self-ambitions, and we're like, well, you can see how this is destroying your marriage, so can we help you release those things? And it's kind of heartbreaking, but at the same time it's awe-inspiring. So we're in this mode of, wow, I'm excited, I'm heartbroken, and it's an interesting experience going through this.
I can imagine it's sort of probably like a puzzle, huh? That
Yes.
you have to, each one is different. Each one takes different strategies, techniques, or just approaches. To your point, I think that's the gift you all have been given to try and solve it, to try and resolve it, work with them to resolve it. So I'm curious, before jumping into things, and I think it's likely going to relate very much. What as someone is maybe looking or willing to step into that counseling posture with folks like yourself, what are maybe some tips you can give someone to maybe get the best experience out of it? That obviously they're open, they're doing it, they're jumping in, they're engaging. However, to your point, maybe there's a bit of resistance still. Thoughts?
Yeah, at first, a lot of times there's this, we're not here to impress.
Hmm.
Sure.
Some do want to come and say, hey, see how good we are, look how good I'm doing, fix her. Um, and really, we're not interested in pointing fingers, laying blame. We're not interested in,
What we are interested in is helping.
yes.
That's the bottom line, is
And,
to help people. So,
and it's usually the dynamic between the two
yeah.
that has caused the problem.
Yeah.
And so if one or the other is kind of standoffish saying, I want you to fix my spouse, then it really comes down to a matter of understanding how the two of you were meant to work together. And if we can get both to surrender to that process, then their hearts are open to receive, and we see things turn around so quickly.
And the point of getting them to work together again, and going to segue kind of into this, because I know Richard probably going to, to segue into it is our inner post. We want them to take these, these assessment. At the end of the day, it is for them to take the assessment so they get a chance to know each other better. So you're not just wondering, okay, about my spouse, oh, is, they're doing this right, or they doing that right, and so on. The assessment is a handbook at the end of the day that you will have, that you'll be able to go back through, and you'll be able to understand each other completely. Now, also in that, it does have scriptures, because again, we are Christian counselors. We will bring forth the word, not the worldly stuff, but the word. And at the end of the day, I know my husband will say, what you need both is the natural and you need the spiritual to put those both together. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. And when you ask Richard how things been going, how we been, I say busy. Counseling is only part of it,
Yeah.
because we have some software updates coming that are so exciting for y'all. I know we've been talking about do your assessment so you can find out what your scores are. When the mobile first and mobile application is ready, you'll be able to get your scores just from the free entry level download. And so what we're looking there for is to help you understand who you are. And then the more you understand yourself, the more you can work with things. But you know what? Just that easy access to your own scores is going to be phenomenal.
And
It'll be
again,
great.
we talk about, the marriage part of it. Don't get us wrong, we do the marriage, we also do the singles. But I know, our main focus, and our heavy focus basically is marriage. But however, we're not leaving the single people out either. So don't, we need to make sure that, we also have assessments for singles and stuff too. So we want everybody
Yeah.
to be whole.
And I think maybe one of the things I heard as you were sharing some of those updates with me internally, very exciting. And I think the key word I got out of that was accessibility.
Yes.
Being able to access it a lot easier, being able to use it on a daily basis, being
Yes.
able to have it as your guide. Like I think you said pocket assistant or pocket handbook that you can always just, yeah, pocket coach, right? They can always reference very easily. And the way I thought of it, which maybe more humorous than real, but hey, I think it could be a point where it's so useful on a day-to-day basis
Yes.
that an argument pops up and you just sort of like you see the I think there are commercials about usually I think sports related and networks where the couple's on a date but there's a big game going on and so they have their phone down here and they're looking watching the game on a date. I can see that with a couple. It's like, oh no, this is a tough conversation, let me pull out my pocket handbook to see how
Yeah.
to just to better understand where my weakness is so that when I respond I don't react,
That part.
and knowing the other person that as well, just as like, wait, let me reference my pocket code so I can really be in tune with how I respond here versus a
That's real
reaction.
good. That's
So
it.
I don't know. That's the if we were to create a commercial, that's what it would. That's how my producer reminded me. But anyway,
And you've caught the vision. I'm so glad that the vision is moving forward. So yeah, thank you for
yeah,
that feedback.
absolutely. So yeah, so and I think the to our point today, I think the like how you all are building it is meant to help in these type of conversations or even our theme for today, which is how to nurture, how to continually pour into the relationship. So from the singles side of view, intentionality creates intimacy. Things don't, and even going back to where you started when someone may be coming out reaching out for counseling and thinking, I guess in this scenario, let's say they're coming in as a single but like a newly couple single, whatever, and they're more focused on fixing the other person. That's not the right posture going in. So how, like in your opinion, what does intentionality creates intimacy mean to you all in terms of a singles lens?
I mean, you hit it right there on the nose, basically. I mean, I don't know where this is really coming from. But yeah, most people think, okay, I just want to, I'm going to change this person and I'm going to mold this person into who I want them to be. That don't work.
Mm.
It don't work at all. Yeah. When you're going into the relationships, you're going into the relationship of who you are and the other person is who they are. And then, like I said, that's the reason why we're so, you know, um, the inner pulse is we are absolutely very appreciative that God has given this to us, this tool, so that we'll be able to, um, for people to be able to take it and really truly understand who they are. So when they're going into these relationships with each other, if they both take it, it's like, oh, okay, this is who I am and this is who she is, and so on. And then you'll be able to, it's like harmony, which I think that's one of the words in our hero, reports. But I mean, it's just so you'll be able to know each other instead of you're getting into the relationship with somebody and you're trying to figure it out. Yeah, we've been down that road. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
When you talk about intentionality, I go
Mhm.
back to one of the Seven Habits by Stephen Covey. You begin with the end in mind.
Yeah.
Mm.
That is a very definition of intentionality. And so whenever I go into something, it's not just a matter, like you said, going off of impulse. Impulse is starting with the now in mind. Intentionality is starting with the end in mind. So where do I want to be?
Yeah.
And with that intentionality, you can start to look at the relationship. What is the potential of this relationship? Right?
Yeah.
I think she's really cute. It's kind of like the Samson deal with a woman from Timnah. I think I like how she looks. Get her for my wife.
But looks fade.
Not only do looks fade, but there's so much beneath the surface that once you get to know someone, their looks might actually change in your mind.
Yeah.
I've met many people who are just absolutely stunning, and then when they open their mouth and ugliness comes out, they're not that attractive anymore. But then you meet someone else who's, I don't mean to be
not so attractive.
Yeah.
But then their insides are amazing.
They're just glowing, and they're like,
Yep.
wow, you are such a beautiful person.
Yep.
And so as you begin with the end in mind, as you go into a relationship with intentionality, you're thinking long term. Where will we be? How will this relationship look when I'm walking out on a daily basis and my eyes are closed? All I see is the inner person that I'm with.
And I love how Dr. Robert just said that, because if you think about it with the end in mind, because, you know, when you get into the relationship and you are moving right along in the relationship, then the end, basically, if you have that thought with having the end in mind, what are y'all purpose with each other? That part. You know, what is this relationship? What is the purpose of this relationship? So, yeah.
You all were talking about you know, looks and maybe outwardly appearances fading, and one of the themes was, why do butterflies naturally fade?
Hey, you love butterflies. What's up with that?
I do love butterflies, but I have a question. What do you mean the butterflies naturally fade?
Okay, so at the beginning of the relationship, can you remember whenever, like, I was calling you and you get that
butterflies.
you get that text from me, you're like, ooh, he's
what?
texting again. Ooh, you got another text. Oh, he's texting again.
What do you mean by
I'm
butterflies?
at work. Why does he keep texting me? No. Yeah, it's that feeling you get when, hey, I'm about to go on another date with him.
Oh, okay.
I'm about to see him this evening. Here's a phone call from him. Oh, and you get all giddy inside.
Mm-hmm.
Those are butterflies.
Okay. Because I honestly was wondering, what do you mean by the butterflies? Because I'm looking at it metaphorically, the butterfly, and I'm like,
Yeah, not quite.
butterflies shouldn't fade. What do you mean?
No, get this.
But
So
now
I
get
used
it.
to have a distinctive ringtone. So if she would text me, I've changed phones since then, but when she would text me, it would be a Lynne ring. No one else triggered that instant, that ringtone on my phone, right? And so whenever it happened, before I even picked up my phone, I just get, ooh, butterflies.
The Lynne ring. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But the reality is, these days, honestly, we've been married for a minute.
So
A text will come in. A text will come in. I'm in the middle of work. I'm like, oh, I want to answer that, but I'm so tied up right now. So what happened between the butterfly reaction and the I'll get to it when I can?
okay.
And honestly, it comes down to drugs, man.
Mm.
It's the brain chemicals, the dopamine, the
I was like, please
endorphins.
explain that, because you.
The love drugs.
Oh my God.
It's the love drugs that are in our minds, in our heads, that are just generated naturally, because in that new relationship energy,
Mm-hmm.
those are flowing. Those are just you get these high level doses anytime that ringtone happens.
So they're just firing, is what you're
Firing,
saying.
right?
Okay. So the question is, though, why do they fade?
That's
so we
natural.
need to answer that, you know.
Well, what I'm saying is, first of all, I have not done the medical studies, right, to see if those levels of hormones change over time in response to different reactions.
Okay.
But the reality is, with any substance,
Mm-hmm.
and you could think of these as love drugs. That's why I keep going back to that reference. their effect does fade over time.
Okay.
And
How about
so,
it balance itself out? Don't think so?
it depends on what you mean balance.
Yeah, I think the overall arching theme for today is how to keep it maybe fresh and balanced out versus too
Mm.
hot too early and fading, because I think we've talked about just consistency. And I think that's a little bit of the theme, because the next sort of talking point was around confusing excitement with connection. I think very early on, with those butterflies, especially single, going out on dates, like, "Hey, this could be the one, mindset, and maybe that's it. Maybe coming in with such high expectations that it just naturally, it's just too high to keep up, and it just tends to fade over time. The more that you're like, oh, my expectations were too high coming in, versus trying to keep it more tame and realistic.
So I think the problem with fading a little bit will be to the fact that in the beginning of your relationship, I mean, you are spending time with each other. You are not only just spending time with each other, but you are going on the dates. You are doing all kind of different activities and everything together. That's you know, that's the beginning. I feel like it may fade and the butterflies may settle and balance themselves out is because you then get to a point of being comfortable with each other. And then once you're comfortable with each other, it's not that you're not excited, to spend time with each other, to go out on the dates and do all the different activities and so on. It's just now things have balanced itself out. That's what I think that will be what are you looking like that for?
Genetics.
Oh my God.
What? So, as you'll notice, and this is one of the beauties of having co-counselors, male and female, husband and wife,
Yeah.
because we don't always agree, so you'll get
Oh,
both
Lord.
perspectives, right? We're always aligned when it comes to matters of Christ, and that's the most important thing. But we do like to give you different perspectives.
Yes.
Um, I'd like to counter that heightened feeling of butterflies. It was not meant to last.
Oh, well, that's true.
The reason I say this is it's beautiful that God has built that into our physiology, because that's where the initial attraction comes. That makes me want to say hi, right? I don't know what I'm going to say next, but I'm going to say hello. And then we'll see how things go from there. At that moment of meeting someone, you're not planning out your life and your kids and where you're going to live. You're just saying hello. And that's coming from those butterflies.
Okay.
Now, whenever you get past the butterflies, I mean, that naturally, I think the high expectations, the unrealistic expectations, is for those butterflies to always be there.
Okay.
Because whenever they go away, whenever they start to fade away, you think you've fallen out of love, and so now you want to go to someone else who's going to give you those butterflies.
That's what you're meaning by the love drug.
Yes.
Okay.
And so you keep chasing that high hit of endorphins and dopamine by going to a new relationship, as opposed to sticking with the one that you're in.
Yeah.
Now, if you begin with the end in mind,
That part.
this is where I see our life going. And yes, I see you as being a complementary, a partner in this, a co-worker in this. That's when you're like, okay, yes, I love you, but love means something different now. It's love is an action, not a feeling, like you were saying, Richard. Love is an action, not a feeling. As I'm walking out my love for you with you, whew, then our road is long. It goes past the horizon. It just keeps on going. But if my love is just a feeling, the moment we hit a dip in the road, I'm like, I'm not feeling this anymore.
Yeah, and I think touching on the actions, um, being that, hey, you get those early excitements, you 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 almost want to cultivate it though. But the thing is, the realistic expectation is that it's not going to be as that throughout, right? Or especially years, decades down the line.
Yeah.
But there are daily or intentional actions you can take to keep it either balanced or at least, more level set where it's not peaks and valleys anymore. So, in your opinion, how can daily choices strengthen or weaken a relationship?
Wow. Well, let's look at daily choices and also with a lower period as well. Daily choices. Um, you keep choosing love. You keep choosing
Intentionality.
my wife over myself, right? There's something that I want to do, and it may or may not be supportive of the marriage. If it's not supportive of the marriage, I put that desire of mine aside. That doesn't mean I don't have the desire.
Yep.
We often use the analogy of cheesecake, and we use cheesecake because, look, anyone has their own sin, everyone has their own weaknesses, and if I call out one weakness, then it alienates a bunch of other people. So I just
Yeah.
use cheesecake, fill that in with whatever you want to fill it in with. But if cheesecake is my sin in marriage, it's my thing that does not support the marriage, then that doesn't mean that my desire for cheesecake goes away. It's just I choose on a daily basis not to pursue it. So that's one of those daily things. It's a daily thing to remain true to what you said you were going to do.
With
I
the
say
end in mind.
with the end in mind.
Yeah.
I tell her, look, I'm not going to go to Cheesecake Factory when you're out of town. And she calls me up and FaceTimes me on that Friday night.
And you
Hey,
got
where you
cheesecake
at?
hanging for your mouth.
Where you at? Is it a sin to go to Cheesecake Factory? No, but it is. It's the opposite of what I said I was going to do. I told her I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
So making choices that consistently that always put your spouse's needs over your own desires. It puts your word over your own weakness, and yeah, that's part of the daily decision
Every day.
every day.
Funny enough, I was when I was in Atlanta from a work trip. We actually it's probably been years, but we were actually at the Cheesecake Factory. So funny, funny enough, you have mentioned that. Really good meal though. It's been a while since I've been there, but I forgot how good their things were. So that's a tough one. That's a tough ask. But anyway, no. But to your point though, um, those daily actions and those daily commitments that you choose your spouse over cheesecake are ways to continue to keep those, for lack of better terms, maybe not butterflies. I don't think butterflies is sustainable, right? As we've discussed,
Right.
but we're also not saying it's a bad thing. It's nice. Like you said, it's a nice thing that we have inside of us to have that feeling, and just knowing how to understand it. Number one, that
Mm-hmm.
it's a feeling.
Yep.
It's likely not going to be all that high, throughout the. But these, to sort of move on to the next one, these daily deposits, and you've talked about this in the past in your bank analogy, but there's a way you can sort of tame or at least maintain these expectations by having these daily actions that keep it intimate, keep it close, keep the relationship strong. What are some of those daily deposits or actions that maybe you've done or you've seen others do in your counseling sessions that, you know, can help people think of, hey, I choose you every day, and this is the action that I choose to do um, to keep things fresh.
I would say communication and listen well. Those are great daily deposits because, I mean, when you have time to have a moment to sit down and enjoy a meal with each other, you are actually listening to each other. You're communicating with each other, of several different things. How the day went. What are things that are on the horizon that we need to communicate about. So it's just, I say communication and listening.
Yeah, and I'd also say those butterflies aren't gone for good.
Right.
We have said that they kind of dissipate, they fade. They're not part of the long. They don't sustain the long term love.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean you don't have them. I mean, because you get into the groove of life, you get into the groove of marriage, and as you're doing so, things become okay. We're communicating, we're having dinner every day, we're doing the things that we're supposed to do, and that can become just rote life. It's just living it out, and that feeling of mundane can start to wear on you, where you start to look for those butterflies somewhere else. But what if you surprise each other from time to time?
Get out of my head.
You know?
I was just thinking
I
that.
got a surprise for you later. You don't even know.
That's
How could you
wonderful.
know? Because it's a surprise, right?
And I think you guys are walking it by example, right? These are the things that you all are doing. So perfect example. Um,
Yeah, that's
so
good.
we won't have you ruin it by letting us know what that surprise is. So, but I think when you don't do things like this, now maybe we shift more to the couples aspect of, folks that have been together some time, maybe looking for ways to keep that fire going, or that surprise or inspirational moments going. Why do you think, and I think I know the answer already, but why do you think couples tend to become roommates?
Oh, well,
Yeah,
we
well,
both said it.
what we just said, life becomes rote. You get into the groove, and the groove is just the same thing. Wow, I'm not sure. Well, when I was a kid, we had these little slot car racetracks, and you had this little controller, and it didn't steer them because there was this little pin that kept this car on the track, and all you did was accelerate or decelerate.
Yep, I remember those.
And it was fun. But then after a few days, it's like, I'm just going in the same circle.
Over and over.
I,
Yeah.
I can go faster, I can go slower, I can stop, but it's still
Yep.
the same every lap.
And to, even another analogy of which I know a lot of people use, it's like you're like two ships in the night. I mean, one's going one direction and the other one's going the other direction because, like, Dr. Rob just said, you get on the groove and you on that groove and you this life you're doing your routine and then your spouse is doing their routine and you're just passing each other and so it slowly becomes like you're roommates because you may stop for a moment just to say hello and then your spouse is off to work and you're off to work or vice versa. It's just you're just passing each other and you're not taking that moment to just stop and like I said, listen to each other and communicate with each other. It's just
That was it.
yep.
Because it just came to me as you're talking. We do teach a class on communication, and we talk about the different levels of communication. How you get deeper and deeper in your communication.
Yep.
Thing is, roommates, they talk at a very shallow level.
Yep.
They're passing by, they exchange facts. Hey, I'm going to be out this weekend, and I'm going to have a friend over tonight. It's facts, and that's a very shallow level of communication.
Yep.
You feel like you're communicating, but what was it our elder said? You're communicating, but not.
Wait a minute.
We'll get
Are you
back.
connecting but not communicating? It's
Connecting,
just
but not communicating.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
was like, what?
and so the difference becomes, I mean, how often do you sit down with your roommate and share how you deeply feel about something?
That part.
Now, if you do, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but that actually becomes a really good roommate, right?
That becomes a friend.
Yes. Bingo. But as spouses, we can tend to filter all the way, surface to that, just sharing facts.
Yep.
This is what our schedule looks like. This is where the kids need to be picked up. This is what I'm doing this weekend. How do you feel about it?
Because you're just giving the person just that surface level information. You're not going deep. So yeah.
And I almost wanted to, as you all were sharing that, it sort of reminded me of what you said earlier in this conversation, just about focus or when you focus too much on the outwardly, because I think sometimes in life could be a bad week, could be a bad month, work's been tough. You both have things going on outside of the household, outside of the relationship, that could sometimes distract you. And now it's just like, just don't want to talk about it. It's back home, just doing what I do so I can relax, and then I'm thinking about the next day already.
Yeah.
But instead of being able to cultivate that, as we say, friendship, and I think another theme for today was protecting the friendship inside of a marriage. And
Mm.
I think, as you all are talking about, I think we've just described ways of maybe not protecting the friendship, which is very surface level, versus, hey, how do we continue to not drift apart, like the ship analogy?
I mean, I
So,
would say, the way to protect the friendship in your relationship. I mean, one, it's always good, even in the beginning of your courting and dating and stuff, is to be, friends, of course, and understanding each other and so on, and to, again, to protect that in the relationship is to, still have that type of, you know I can still say, that we can be friends and in our, marriage and stuff and just in our relationship that we still understand each other to, I mean, we still can laugh with each other. Because it's again, you get into your marriage and, so a lot of people will stop laughing at each other and start
Wait,
doing, oh, start,
wait,
we'll start
laughing at
start
you.
laughing with each other. My bad. Not at. That's one thing that we have because he's like, why you?
hey, maybe if it's a playful one, it's like you just. I think a real friendship, in my
Yes.
opinion, is when you can laugh at each other and you just both just sit back and just start laughing. You're like, I know what you're laughing at because I know my weaknesses, and now I know you know my weaknesses, and we're having a moment where it just kind of like cuts the tension. Just but
That's
I
good. I'm
think that's a
sorry.
health.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a healthy friendship and relationship there when you can laugh at
Right.
yourself and laugh at the other. And just be mutually like, okay, I get what just happened there, and I know you do too.
Yeah, it definitely works.
Yep.
As we look at protecting the friendship, you think about it. You've got friends, and how often do you spend time with a friend just because you have to? You really
Mm.
don't. Those are the meetups that you tend to turn down, right? So there's three things that you can like today, for example. I got some errands to run across town. I could have decided, hey, honey, I'm gonna go run this errand, and I'll catch up with you this evening. I could say, well, I'm supposed to spend time with my wife today, and so why don't you come along?
Mm.
Or third, I could say, I want you there with me. I want to spend the day with you.
That's good.
And it's that heart in that third one that protects the friendship.
Yeah.
That, I wow. Yeah, I think exactly. I think and to your point, I feel like someone could have taken it as like, oh, I have to do this, dude. And the thing is, as they're saying that, maybe option three, like the ideal thing to say there to really grow and strengthen a friendship. Who's not to say that maybe they were feeling like one or two originally, but they
Yeah.
stopped, thought about it, and said, "No, I'm choosing you, even though my week has been terrible. Boss is ticking me off. um, I need just some alone time, but you know what? I choose you, and I would rather spend that time with you because I know that once I get out of my head, you're probably part of it of getting out of my head.
Yeah.
I will be so much happier that I made this decision. Now it's just getting my outwardly self to get that part. Amazing. No, I thought that was a great example because I know I've been there where I'm more of like I would say more of the middle option because I know what's best, but but when you say it like that, the other person receives it like how you like how you meant it. Versus the third option, they receive it in a more open and we're not going to like. I feel like if you would have went with the second option, they would have came with you, but there would have still been some tension. It's like, oh, you just brought me along because you felt the need to, or they might even say no just because of how it was delivered. So
That.
I think that was a great example. Um, Before we go into our live engagement question that we all love to leave the crowd and just get us thinking, and potentially cause a reason to reach out to Dr. Rob and Dr. Lynn. Any maybe things that come to mind in terms of this subject that you feel would be worthwhile to share with our audience before we leave them with our last question?
Wow. This episode has been about intentionality, and we also talked about surrender a little bit at the very beginning.
Yes.
When we talk about surrender, it's sort of a scary thing because you think, well, I'm giving up control, I'm giving up what I want, I'm giving up all these other things, and I'm just leaving it to the will of the relationship, to the will of the marriage, to the will of my wife, or even the will of God. I'm just leaving it up, I'm losing control. But quite honestly, it's such a freeing. I know you don't think about surrender leading to being free, but it is so freeing when you're not binding yourself with your own unmet expectations.
Yeah.
It's like
Let it go.
just
Surrender.
let it go and see how to serve, see how to give of yourself. I just I just sent a message to my daughter as she's going into the world, finishing up her senior year of college. I said, look, fun is found in what you do. Fulfillment is found in the impact that you make. It's measured by the impact that you make. And so if I'm just looking for fun and what serves me, there is a limited level of really fulfillment that I can have from that. And that'll be very fleeting. But if you can find out how to help others, even if that other person is as close as your spouse, that's when life becomes fulfilling.
Yeah.
Can you say that one more time? Yeah, I'd love to. I would like to get that saying one more time because I was trying to repeat it in my head and I wasn't able to fully complete it. So one more time for myself and the audience. I thought
That's
that
all
was
right.
very.
That's all right. Fun is found in what you do. Fulfillment is measured by the impact that you make.
To maybe put a bow on things for today. Again, thank you all for another awesome session. Our live engagement question to leave with our audience and even for us to think about is what small action makes you feel loved?
Ooh.
And maybe that's one. Usually, I feel like these live engagement questions are something that you can almost noodle on yourself, but this seems like it's something that is rather meant to build that friendship, build that relationship, build that growth. That you should be possibly talking with that partner of yours, spouse, whatever stage you're in today. This could be a good little conversation to have. So again, one more time, what small action makes you feel loved? I think actually now that I hear it a second time, I think it's one that you start internally processing before you go out and sharing because you need to know what that is.
Yeah.
And then open it up to a joint conversation because I'm sure you want to know what that other person's answer is to that.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's very
That's
insightful.
very insightful.
Beautiful. Well, again, thank you both, Dr. Lynn, Dr. Rob, for another awesome session with Relationship Real Talks, hosted by my NFT. I think I mixed it up in the beginning, but with my relationship experts. By the way, a little tad bit. I know we've been teasing it for some time, but we are finally very close to the release. Maybe teasing a bit about the merchandise and our approach, but we would love to get the audience's views and overall just take in the next step that we're taking with my relationship experts and coming out with their own merchandise line. Some very inspired items coming through. You've maybe seen a little bit of the ideas with some of the nice things Dr. Lynn has worn. There's some inspirations coming from there, but we would love our audiences, our community, to have a take on what those first items are that are released. So look out for some more information coming up very soon. And once again, we appreciate you all for tuning in to another episode of Relationship Real Talk. Featuring Dr. Rob and Dr. Lynn. We appreciate you all and hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. Thanks all.
God bless you all.
Yes. God bless you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.